the next episode of Common Side Effects.
Marshal Cuso is dead.
Dead? I've read about the barbarity of your American prison system. How sad to see the evidence firsthand.
Uh-huh. So we're done with this. You're handling Ryuta?
Loose ends will be tied.
Common Side Effects. New episode next Sunday at 11:30 on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
Fitting in high school is tough.
Take a look at the world out there. Messed up as ever.
Especially when you're the only kid seeing ghosts.
This again?
Yes, again.
Time to set your heart ablaze.
The gears of my destiny have begun to turn.
Here we go at last!
It's time to get weird with Fooly Cooly Shoegaze.
Next Saturday at midnight.
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Toonami Therapy, on February 27th of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello. I'm Tommy.
And it's time to talk about some anime and other things we've been watching, including some series on Toonami. In regards to Toonami, we have some news. So they were having 2 episodes of Blue Exorcist in One Piece. Okay, so the schedule was Fooly Cooly, then 2 episodes of Blue Exorcist, then One Piece. So they are cutting back on one of the Blue Exorcist episodes and are replacing it with Common Side Effects, which is like not... I don't think that series is like an anime or even anime inspired. So
yeah,
it's
definitely not.
I don't know much about it other than all the fact what I've seen from the commercials that they kept spamming for it in the past before they even decided it would be put on Toonami. And by the way, I want to make it clear, this series has already been airing. There's been 5 episodes aired so far. So we're just going to be getting reruns of it.
Yeah. I don't plan on watching it, so yeah.
I think I might as well check it out, but we'll see how it goes. But it means we're down to just 2 Toonami series to watch. So it's really weird to me that they're do this, because okay, you're showing Fooly Cooly reruns, all right, whatever, but why this instead of the Blue Exorcist episode? I mean, I can understand maybe they just don't have any shows right now or they're waiting on something or whatever, but why? But they presumably have the license and can air 2 episodes of it. So what's causing them to do this? Is Blue Exorcist not doing well in the ratings and they're hoping this will do it, or what's going on here?
I think it's a sinking ship. That's what I think it is. And they're just trying to shuffle some deck chairs around before they sink for good, because I think the ratings are most likely terrible and they're just trying everything they can, because the bad thing is that people who watch anime don't tend to watch it the right way, like the legal way. It's so funny. I'll go on the Facebook group of the Animaniacs and Sato, their biggest Facebook group, and everyone be like, how can I watch this anime? Not a single person will tell them the legal way of doing it. Every single person puts in some sort of sketchy website where they can find the show online. And I think that's the same thing that goes on here with Toonami. People are like, I can just watch it on my own time via, pirating. So I don't need Toonami. And thus the ratings are really bad. And now we're losing out on anime as a result. It's unfortunate that this has been the way it's been for pretty much my entire time as a anime fan. But yeah, I don't want to see side effects or whatever it's called. it was at least the Superman thing was like, okay, this is kind of in the same vein of it, but then the Invincible Fight Girl wasn't even remotely like that, and now this, yeah, I've just run out of interest in these experiments Toonami keeps putting on us.
Well, Invincible Fight Girl, I at least felt was there was a lot of anime inspiration in it. And it also this was its premiere. It was premiering on Toonami. It wasn't just taking a series that was already airing and just slotting it in. Although I don't think the reason is piracy. I think it's just streaming, in general. I mean, I'm sure even if there wasn't piracy, people are still just going online to watch stuff. That's the problem that TV just has in general, where people always just think, well, I could watch this at this specific time, or I could just go on to a streaming service like Crunchyroll or High Dive or Netflix and watch it whenever I want without any commercials.
Or supercoolanime.tv.de,
Is that a real site? No, really, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
but you wouldn't be able to if you saw it, you might actually believe that was something. So, yeah. Don't type that in. Don't type that in. It might ruin your computer.
Oh, supercoolanime.tv.de. Actually, I already checked it out. It just gives me an error. The page you are looking for does not exist, and it just does a search for it instead.
Oh, that's a relief.
But yeah, no, I mean, because streaming is still popular. Crunchyroll is up to 15 million subscribers now, and Netflix is well. It's harder to. The reason Crunchyroll is a better comparison point is because with Netflix, it's got anime, but most people who watch Netflix aren't doing it for anime. So that's the hard part. There's also High Dive. I don't know their subscriptions. With High Dive, I'm going to guess a bunch of the piracy stuff might be just the fact that they withdrew from a bunch of territories. So so that's kind of an issue there. But that's its own issue. I think the basic problem is just the fact that so many more people, if they want to watch anime, they'll just, whether it's piracy or a legal streaming site, the point is they go to watch it on streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, good point there. Yeah. I just think there's a lot more pirates. I don't know what to call them, but there's a lot more of those. The king of the pirates, lot more than you think.
No. I remember there was. I saw something recently about it, and they said that the amount of piracy right now, it was what was the number? I don't want to say the no. I feel like they said there were 3 times more people pirating than watching on legal streaming services, but I'm not. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to remember something I saw recently. So that's a lot. But on the other hand, it also seems and I think piracy, at least for now, seems like much less of a threat to anime, considering there's so much more of it. There's so much more being licensed and dubbed and everything. So clearly there's still a lot of money to be made in it. So it seems to me that simulcast streaming is what played a really big role in, because it used to be, there used to be so much warnings about how it was causing major problems for anime, and you don't really hear that much anymore. I mean, you'll hear people talk about it, but you don't really see that kind of stuff that much anymore.
Well,
so
you want to think about King of the Pirates. The King of the Pirates is Crunchyroll itself, because that's what Crunchyroll was. Whenever I got into anime, Crunchyroll was a pirate site, and now. Now it's considered the biggest anti-piracy the reform site, you know. So yeah.
I just think it was funny to I can't find it offhand, but there's this old article on somewhere on Anime News Network. I mentioned this article quite a while before, but let me see if I can find it again. Basically, it was some statements from some places complaining Funimation and some other group were like basically complaining about how Crunchyroll was getting, investments from, monetary investments from place, and they were saying, you're doing this for a pirate site, that's not good. Now Funimation is in charge of Crunchyroll, essentially. That's what happened. Sony, when they purchased Crunchyroll, they owned Funimation. They basically just renamed
bought it out.
Yeah. And then they merged them by basically renaming Funimation Crunchyroll and just put all the people there in charge of the Crunchyroll website. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what point I was making in all of that, and we've been going on for a while without talking anything about the Toonami, but that was that was the thing I was looking for. Yeah, it's so weird because, like I said, like you technically have two Crunchyrolls. You had the Crunchyroll that's like the website, the service, but the company that's called Crunchyroll now is what Funimation was. They just renamed it for when Sony decided to merge them, and because Crunchyroll was the better known brand at that point.
Right.
So yeah, so I think that's all of it. I'm just trying to see if I can find that yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much of my time trying to look up an old article. Wait, I think I might have found it. Just one sec. Yeah, it's basically this was a statement from 2008. If someone wants to look up this article, it's on Anime News Network. It's called Funimation Bandai Entertainment Respond to Crunchyroll, and it basically is Funimation basically complaining and saying, like, without proactive and effective copyright policing and enforcement by those that control anime content, sites like this will continue to gain a reputation as outlets for free anime. If this happens, the entire anime industry will suffer, making the expensive and time-consuming work of producing anime content for the U.S. market impossible. Remember that they're talking about Crunchyroll when they said this. Which, when you look at the way things went, is just kind of funny. So yeah. Anyway, I could probably say a lot more about this sort of stuff, but this is usually all the stuff we say at the end of the podcast.
So sorry, I got us off topic.
No, it's fine. There's some other podcasts I listen to that just have these lengthy things before they actually get to what they're talking about. So returning to our what we were discussing, we're on Blue Exorcist episodes 14 and 15, and now let's see if I can remember exactly everything that happened. Okay, so they were going on a camping trip where they were, but the camping was actually some training stuff they were supposed to do, but then a bad guy, like, shows up with, I can't remember. Have we seen this guy before? I think, we've seen this guy before.
At the amusement park.
Amusement
park, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So then they have to fight them, and it's all so everything wrong there. And by the way, everything I've just described is exactly what happened in My Hero Academia at one point. They go to this camp that's but it's also going to have a bunch of training there, and then some bad guys show up and attack, and they have to fight them off. Exact thing. This came out before My Hero Academia, so maybe it was taking that stuff from here. Anyway, Reen ends up having to, reveal the whole hey, I am the son of Satan, so I have all these demonic power stuff, in front of everyone, and does manage to beat the guy, I think, but then loses control, and so that's the episodes, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought these were actually pretty good. I think the series started getting better once Shura showed up, and I'm not sure why, but I do like her character, and I do like how the other kids, I don't know what to call them, the boys, that they have kind of rallied around Rin, and they've kind of made friends with him. So you no longer have that standoffish thing that you had to start the season. So now they're kind of integrated as friends together. They're working together, and you get to see them work together and use their different abilities, so to speak. And I thought these were pretty two entertaining episodes. And then, of course, Reen has to show his power near the end of this second episode because things are that desperate. And so everyone finds out about it, I guess, because he pulls out his sword and uses that blue light, and people were getting suspicious as it was, but because Shura threw the holy water on everyone but him, and although she didn't throw it on Siemi, which is weird because then Siemi went and got kidnapped temporarily. So I don't know why she didn't do that. But so these are two pretty entertaining episodes, and this is probably the reason why I remember liking this show the first time around. So I think it was probably around 2 episodes ago whenever it improved for the better, for her. Of course, I don't know what I'm saying. It got better and it improved. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, it's unfortunately hard for me to say the episodes just blur together for me. That's the problem. When I see 2 episodes like this, especially when it was on Saturday, some of the other series, if I've seen them more recently, I remember them better. But that's the issue there. And we are almost at the point where this first season just does that infamous divergence and just goes into an anime-only arc, and then season 2 completely ignores it. We're not there yet, though. We're not there yet. But it is and I think this website has said the next episode that's from the manga. Everything after that in the first season is basically anime filler that you can completely ignore. So,
or you can ignore the second season and consider the first season to be canon. Yep.
Well,
that's what I do. That's what I do with Full Metal Alchemist.
So, yeah, okay. I didn't have anything else to add, so I guess we'll move on to One Piece episode 705. Okay, so Corazon gives Law the op fruit and has him eat it. So now he has those powers, which Corazon says, hey, you can use it to cure yourself and all that and stuff. Although he's also Corazon's also got really beaten up because while he managed to get away from the pirates, he, like I said, got really beaten up. And he tells Law, hey, go and give up this message to a Marine. And out of all of the Marines on that island, Law just happens to choose the one that's actually secretly evil. Which, therefore, he gives it to that guy, the Virgo. Remember that guy from the Punk Hazard arc? The guy who always had this food stuck to his face. You probably don't remember much about him. I just remember running from poison gas. But in the meantime, so that happens, which means that so he tips off Doflamingo, and the stuff doesn't get to the Navy, and basically, so essentially, Corazon's plan failed due to complete dumb luck, essentially. And yeah, that's it.
Is Corazon dead?
I was about to. Sorry, I wasn't quite done. I said that's it, and I was going to say, and then I said that bad. Sorry, you. Virgo beats Corazon and Law up and stuff, and then and then Doflamingo shows up. So Corazon, at least for now, is still alive. It's a flashback, so he'll probably die. Though I can't remember if they've said in the present what happened to him, but even if they did, it's like, okay, it's a one-piece flashback, so someone's going to die, and Corazon isn't around in the present, so he's probably the one who dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he isn't around anymore, so
he
has to die. Though it'll probably be like a 15-minute long goodbye from him to Law. He'll be dying there, and Law will be sitting over him sobbing, and he'll keep on saying thing after thing after thing, and then he'll die, and then Law will cry like crazy, and then we'll jump out of the flashback. So yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen.
For good measure, maybe Corazon will have a flashback just before he dies, and we'll go back to having a flashback in a flashback.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So yeah, that was One Piece. It was okay. All right, I think that is that for that. So I guess we'll go on to the series that were not on Toonami that we have been watching. All right, So we'll move on to Yu Yu Hakusho episode 43. So in this episode, remember how, 35 episodes ago, there's that thing about how Yusuke was gonna hatch the spirit beast that was taking stuff that was feeding off the stuff he was doing, good or evil, and if he did good, it would help him, and if he did bad things, it might attack him and all that stuff. Well, it hatched, and it's just this cute little thing that looks like a Pokemon, honestly. Actually, now that I think about it, it looks like one of the level, the basic Pokemon that evolves into something like way stronger and more menacing. Like how Abra is all nice, kind of cute and stuff, but then Kadabra and Alakazam look more menacing, that sort of thing. So anyway, he gets that. Let's see. Then we do see, the characters and some other people do watch some of the other teams. We get to see, the guys they're going to fight. We also see some of the match between two teams that aren't going to matter because that team, the team that loses that one is just going to fight Taguro's team, and is obviously going to lose. So that was kind of pointless, actually. And then the masked fighter reveals herself. Oh, it is Genkai. Okay. And just tells Yusuke, well, yeah, I'm going to do training stuff for you to make you even stronger now. So yeah, I think that covers all the episode. Did I miss anything important? I probably did.
Let's see. Now, well, the mass the mass singer, as I was going to call her, the mass fighter, that was kind of disappointing that there was no surprise about it. It was like, yeah, you knew it from the very start. And it's like, I wish there had been something more to that, at least a joke about it. Like he pulls off the mask and it looks like someone else or something. But yeah, I guess we're going through another training session, training arc maybe before the semifinals. And
I will say,
yeah, this episode was more about comic relief than it was about the tournament, which I actually think is a good thing because I'm not really interested in that tournament at all, because I'm like, why are they even in the tournament? Like, why are they doing it? I don't know why. So,
well, they were I know they were kind of forced into doing it. I'm still just a little confused about exactly why they are just like, okay, well, we don't want to do it even if you want us to, but it's just like, well, they got to do it. So I guess the explanation is, oh, well, if you don't do it to Guro, we'll just kill you, but you're going to have to fight him in the tournament anyway. So maybe they just figured reasonably, well, if we fight him now, we'll lose, and I know we'll still have to fight him in the tournament, but since this is a shonen series, there's a very high probability we'll all get some pretty cool power-ups along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little surprised though. Yusuke didn't. Maybe he didn't have a chance. Well, we previously did see underneath the mask, and it was someone that did not look like Genkai, and there's no question. He doesn't say, "Wait, you look totally different. What's up with that?" I know we get the explanation for that later. It's just I'm just a little surprised it wasn't brought up here, but maybe Yusuke will do it in the next episode. We'll see.
Yeah, that was really awkward whenever he says that, and then the masked fighter completely ignores him and says, "Attack this rock," and then they just kind of forget about that. So that I hope that gets brought up in the next episode, or else that is kind of a minor plot hole,
All right, I don't have anything else to say about that. So, moving on, we get to Shangri-La Frontier, episode 37. So, Sunraku and Rei fight Lycagon. All right, so after that, we'll move on to Blue Lock, episode 34. Okay. Okay, but that basically was the entire episode.
Yeah.
It was, the action was good. It was kind of fun, but the problem I had with it is that there was so many kind of fun and funny interactions between the two of them in the last episode or two, and that kind of just disappears during this fight so far. And that I think is a problem. I was thinking back to the Weathermon fight. I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of fighting and action stuff here, but we still had some really funny interactions among the characters during that fight. Like the part where Oikatsu and Pencilgon, they're trying to fight the sort of robot horse that Weathermon had, and Oikatsu, there's this part where Oikatsu says, so what, asks about what, and Pencilgon mentions that they need to keep it away so that none of its lasers will hit Sunraku while he's fighting Weathermon. And there's this goofy little bit where they both imagine Sunraku saying, telling them, "What? I was fighting the big boss, and you two couldn't even handle his horse? Pathetic." And Pencilgon just says, "He'll be like that for at least 6 months." So that was funny. My explanation probably didn't sound funny at all, but it was great when it happened. The point I was saying is that we had funny stuff like that, but we didn't have much of that in this episode. So that's the problem. On the other hand, the action was good and was fun to watch. So I don't know how it all ends up. I think it was decent, but not as good as I think it could have been.
Yeah, I kind of have the same opinion. Yeah, it was all uh, just a fight and not really much more than the fight. And I don't know. It goes back to the thing of watching someone else play a video game, and it's just not all that entertaining. And plus, like, what are the stakes behind this? Like, if Sunraku doesn't beat this guy, like, what happens to him? He just goes back and respawns somewhere. It's not like there's any really, really bad thing that's going to happen as a result. So, it feels kind of empty to me. I don't know. I really want to get back to Pentagon and the other person. I forget their name.
Oikatsu.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get the band back together. So the faster we can do that, the better. Get all three of those three back together again. So hoping for that, but I'm starting to doubt that's going to even happen this season. So we'll see.
It's Oikatsu. I said Oikatsu. It's actually Oikatsu. So sorry about getting that wrong. So it is kind of true stakes. I mean, I don't have a problem even in the context of the game itself, because when you looked at the Weathermon, what were the stakes? Well, he had spent a bunch of time setting it up, a bunch of money getting all the items for it. So if they failed, then that would all go down the drain. So there were some stakes there. Here it is just kind of, we can just do it again and find Lycagon. I guess the stakes is that Lycagon might be hard to find again, but beyond that, I don't know. The fact that we were just kind of almost so randomly thrown into this fight, there really wasn't much build up to it. It's just like, okay, we're fighting Lycagon now. So yeah, I don't necessarily mind a lack of stakes. It's exactly because, like I said, but at the same time, I don't know. My biggest problem, I just think, is that it's just so much fighting and stuff without like the funny character interactions. Just like a little bit of that would have been a lot to make this episode better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Although we do finally, apparently, that girl with like that one girl that we kept, who's featured in the theme song and the ending credits, and we've seen her a few times, but she hasn't actually met any of the characters yet. It looks like she's finally going to do something, and we'll find out who she is, which would be nice. I mean, I got spoiled on that already, but I kind of hope I'm hoping we get that in the next episode, because it's so weird to like be still holding off on this after all of that, and everyone's like wondering, so wait, this girl, who is she? She's in the theme song, she's in the ending credits, she's on the little like poster thing for this season, so when is she actually going to do stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we close off with Blue Lock episode 34. In this episode, I can't remember his name, but the guy with, I can't even say with like the weird hair color, because they've all got weird hair colors, but the guy whose hair is multiple colors, I guess, the one who doesn't get along with people, so he gets brought in onto the other team, and he and Sai are able to do really well with each other, and they get a goal. Let's see, Chigiri and I can't remember his name, but the guy whose hair is usually covering up his eyes get injured, and they're replaced by that guy with the southern accent and the blue hair, and also Reo. So Reo's in here. Reo ends up doing the whole copying thing and copying the other person's technique like a Smeargle.
A Ditto.
Ditto just copies the whole thing though. Smeargle just copies the attack and has it permanently. So he's more of a Smeargle, I think, in terms of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's able to stop the opponent's team's advance, and that's where the episode ends.
Yeah. So what's the score now? 2-2?
Yes, I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was that little bit at the end where Yoichi's mother talks to another one of those boys' mother, and they kind of hit it off in that little additional time thing. That was pretty amusing. Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, I guess I don't really have much to say about it. The whole chemical reaction thing, it's kind of getting used a little too much. ICL 21 didn't use the same metaphor over and over and over again. So, but I guess it is better than just pedal faster. So it could be worse. Yeah.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what that's a reference to, it was this joke we had about this series called Yomushi Pedal, where the joke a bicycling anime, where the joke we just kept making was, well, you just beat your opponent by pedaling faster. Which I think they actually did say in the show at one point.
Yeah.
He said we've got to pedal faster, which was after we had already been making that joke too.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it for Blue Lock then. So I guess that's our animes. Or actually anime. Is the plural anime or animes? I think it's just anime.
You could use both.
Okay.
You can use both.
Just saying animes with an S just sounds awkward. So
yeah.
Okay. So I guess that the thing I just said. So I guess we pick our favorite Toonami and non-Toonami series.
Well, it was a really hard choice for Toonami for me, but I went with Blue Exorcist, surprisingly. And non-Toonami, is so weird, but now 3 weeks in a row it's Yu Yu Hakusho for me. I don't know why I started enjoying this so more than the others all of a sudden, but this is the third straight week I'm picking it. So, yeah. And my best girl of the week is Kodo, the announcer girl from Yu Yu Hakusho, who I hope is around for a long, long time.
She is a lot of fun. Okay, so we've got all of that, and I actually had the same choices, so you saved me some time there. All right, so let's see. Right, so we do have a little bit of news. Now, for the last, I think, 9 weeks, what we've been doing is we've been, alongside our anime, we've been going through a watch through of the episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation. we're planning to stop that after this episode because, well, it when we're spending time on that, it means it's not anime we're talking about. And second, and the other important thing, going through season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation like this kind of wears at you after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be talking about the Star Trek soon enough. I just wanted to mention the reason I'm saying all this is because, like I said, we're going to be dropping that after this episode, and we're going to be bringing in a new anime series. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, honestly, I've kept myself in the dark about it all this time, so
it was your
suggestion.
suggestion.
I don't really know much about it. I suggested because I got the Blu-ray of it, but I don't know why I got the Blu-ray of it. I don't remember buying it. I don't know how I got it in my possession, but I got it somehow. And from what I see is that it's a pretty well-reviewed anime. I mean, that doesn't mean anything really, but at least it's not a bad one. And but sometimes whenever I just pick an anime on a whim, sometimes I come up with a really good one. So hopefully that's the case here. I remember a totally random ad in a video of someone doing a panel at a convention, and they were sponsored by Funimation, and they had this ad in their video of their panel, and the ad happened to be for an anime named Shangri-La, and I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And then that became my very favorite. So you never know whenever you're gonna accidentally stumble onto a really good show, and hopefully this is the case. Or 3 episodes from now, I'll be begging to tap out. We'll see.
You did actually. I should actually say the name of the anime. It's
sorry.
It's Hyoka, and it's spelled. And I'm telling you, I'm telling the audience because you had to tell me how it was spelled. So
yeah,
Hyouka. That's it. It apparently means ice cream in Japanese.
Well, that makes me very confused.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not an anime original. It's based on a novel. Although I don't know. It's part of like a classic literature club is the name of the novel series. I don't know if the anime is just called Hyoka, but I don't know if this one adapts or wait, hang on, did I get this mixed up? Yeah, it's that, but I don't know if it's I don't to put it in front. This is named after the first episode of the series, but I don't know if it only adapts the first book or if it adapts more of them. So we'll see, I guess. I'm going to guess this probably goes through more because this thing's 22 episodes plus an OVA, and there is I don't think you would have to stretch things out probably more than One Piece did to get 22 episodes out of one book.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would take one Piece editing skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although
adding and duct tape.
Unless it was a really long book, I guess, but I don't. How long is this actually? I'm very curious all of a sudden. I don't think it's been translating to English or anything, but I could at least look. I'm just gonna see if I can like see a Japanese version, and if it tells me how many like pages it has. Okay, I think this is the one. According to this, it's no, this is a manga that was based on it. I don't know the exact one. The manga is actually still going on. It's got 16 volumes. It's an adaptation of the novel. So I don't know. We'll just see it. So once again, Hyoko will watch an episode of that. Also, we're going to watch a second episode of Blue Lock for next week. So
yeah, because we want to get the ReZero. So yeah.
So yeah, I think that's everything then. So that's all we have to say that's anime related, I think. The one I don't have anything else to say about that, although oh dang, I feel like I had more things I wanted to say about our earlier conversation, but I don't know if I want to drag this on longer about that. So maybe we should just put that on and just get to Star Trek.
Yeah, I did want to mention I've been watching more Bleach, and we're getting near some of the best episodes this past week, and yeah, it's been really good, even watching in retrospect. I remember whenever I'm watching the show and then I look up information for it, and I look up and I'm looking on Wikipedia, and it says Sosuke Aizen is the main villain of the series Bleach. And I'm sitting there thinking, what? And unfortunately, I got that spoiled for me. And it was a really big spoiler too, because I'm thinking here, Aizen's dead, and he wasn't even of any importance in the show. He was just a guy who got killed off, and that was a really bad spoiler. I mean, that might have been the worst spoiler I've ever had, and I also came to forget the fact that Momo actually had a story around her before her fate, and I kind of forgot totally this even existed, and so yeah, that maybe I was under Aizen's spell too. I don't know, but we had the Yoruichi Soifon battle, and that was entertaining, though it really just ends because Soifon just quits, because he would have beat Yoruichi, but she just kind of gives up. And we're in the middle of the Ichigo Byakuya battle. Ichigo's about to reveal his Bankai. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to start watching the third season, third arc, whatever you want to call it. They call it something I don't know how to pronounce. Third cours or something. And COUR. And I'm going to start watching that at some point. That way I can be caught up with everyone else on the Bleach anime. So those are my plans, and that's what I'm watching.
Yeah, core, COUR, that's pronounced core, at least I think it's pronounced that. I sure hope it is, because that's how I've always been pronouncing it, and I'm going to feel really stupid if it's not how it's pronounced. Let me see. Where can I find the pronunciation thing for it? Okay. Well. Okay, here's a pronunciation for it. The only problem is it's one of those things where it's, got all like those weird looking symbols. Like you got the upside down E and the U that looks kind of like a horseshoe. And I'm like, or an upside down R. And I'm like, I don't know what any of these are actually pronounced as. Let me just, okay. I think I'm seeing it rhymes with this. Yeah, it looks like it is pronounced unless or maybe it's not. Maybe it's pronounced more. It's like pronouncing like like it rhymes with like lur. Is it cur? Is that, have I been doing this wrong? I don't know. I've just been calling it core. So maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, that's what it is. Like that's a term that basically gets used for sets of like 12 to 13 episodes in anime, because all the anime has like the seasons, winter, fall, spring, summer.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in that order, but
right.
And that's what they call that. So, if a season has like 24 episodes, you say it's double core. If you got them in if you have like 13 episodes, then there's a break, then there's another one that's called a split core season, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it is.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to pronounce it by next time.
We'll probably forget. That's what I usually do. But in the meantime, we've gotten... All right, so that's all the anime stuff. Let's jump in to Star Trek. So, Star Trek The Next Generation, Episode 18, Home Soil.
Yeah, well, I don't really know how to explain this episode that well. It was basically just they go to this planet, which, it's like planet of the week type of thing here. And they go to this planet and then they get this light that blinks all the time. And they discover that it's actually a living thing. It's alive. And then it starts duplicating, and then it starts mutating. And then, like everything else, it starts taking over the ship, which is like everything so far this season. It's always comes down to something taking over the ship, and eventually they're able to figure out a way to communicate with it, and then they're able to get rid of it, and all that without violating the Prime Directive. So congratulations to them on that part. And and that is a very lackluster episode and description of the episode. I didn't do a good job of describing it, but the fact of the matter is it was a terrible episode. So it kind of deserves it.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I don't think I disliked it as much as you did. I thought it was just kind of there. So I don't know exactly. There are a few things I wanted to mention quick. So they're talking about how it's inorganic life, and that's not possible. Life is organic, and I'm kind of confused that no one like says anything, because Data's right there. Like he doesn't say, "Do I not count as life then?" And I'm a little surprised that was never brought up. He just kind of doesn't have any to say about it. If they wanted to like say. If they just wanted to clarify, well, like, life in the scientific sense, if they had just clarified that would be something. But it was a little weird that they mention it like that. So the other thing I guess is this brings up something I've mentioned I've kind of been thinking about a bunch of times. So Betazoids can read minds. Now, Deanna Troi is half Betazoid, so she can only feel people's emotions instead. Is like the thing. So I'm thinking we've seen that. I know people make jokes about how a lot of times she just says the obvious, like that person who is raging at us, he feels great anger. But in some cases it is useful, like here where she's able to discover that they're hiding things and such. So in case like this, it's useful. And I'm just thinking, why, if that that seems like, why doesn't everyone have something like this? Or even just having a regular Betazoid. They can read minds. Think of how much more useful Deanna Troi would be if she could read everyone's minds instead of just knowing their emotions. Like, if she could read minds, this whole episode would have gotten, cleared up just like that.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring all this up is it seems almost kind of a plot hole that such an amazingly useful and powerful thing, and wouldn't they want to try to have someone of that on every ship for things like this? You could solve every problem and stuff. It's like this one the anime hasn't gotten there yet, but there's this one chapter of Spy Family where there's sort of like this murder mystery, and it kind of sets it up like it's this big mystery, except then Anya figures out immediately who the person is because she can just read minds.
Yeah.
And it's a good joke. And I'm thinking, I don't know, it just seems like it's such a strong power. I kind of feel like it would have made more sense if instead of having all the Betazoids just read minds, he said, okay, why go with this half Betas? Just say all they can just they can just feel emotions, all of them. That's all they can do. There's no need for to specify, oh well, Deanna Troy's half Betazoid, so she does, or maybe it's Betazed, I can't remember which one it is. So she can't so that's why she only gets the nerfed version of it. It just is a little weird that such a really powerful thing is somehow just not being utilized. And the series largely forgets about it outside of whenever Loxana is around. So I feel like in terms of plot, it would have made a lot more sense to make the Betazoids just, okay, we can feel emotion, and that's perfectly fine. It lets you do some things. Maybe they didn't do very well a lot of times with Deanna Troi, but it's at least a decent idea. But once you're saying, oh, we've got a whole race of mind readers, but in all these super useful things, we don't use them. We're doing negotiations with the Dominion. Sure would, in Deep Space Nine, sure would be nice to have a mind reader with us to see if they're lying about stuff. I'm reminded of this one episode where long story short, I can't remember the exact ones, but they managed to I won't go now. I'll skip over it because it would take too long to explain everything. But it's just, I'm thinking of all these cases where that's so useful, and so it's just weird that they set that up when it would be so useful and that it's just ignored. So, but whatever. That's not exactly a part in this episode. As for this episode, I guess it was just okay, kind of a bit overly long, I think, but it was okay. There's at least an okay mystery. I don't know. I just found the whole episode very thoroughly okay.
Yeah, I just was bored to death by it. So, yeah, I did not like it. Yeah, just this season, it seems every time there's something good, there's something equally stupid, like what you just were talking about. Like, why wouldn't you want someone who could do all those things, So, I don't know. I gave it a 1 out of 10 because I was that bored by it. So, you probably gave it something higher than that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think I will give this one 5.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be it for the next Star Trek, at least for now, where we in our first attempt like years ago, we went through 9 episodes and then quit, and then this time we also went through 9 episodes and then quit. So if we ever return to this, I guess we'll get to the end of the first season and then a little bit of the second season before we reach the 9 episodes again. Hopefully that would work out a little better because of the fact that the what you call the second season is better than the first. Not like a big improvement necessarily, but you when you look at season 1, it's like you think, all right, if you want to tell someone, hey, here are the best episodes of this series, well, I'm pretty sure every season you can say you has at least a claim to something, except for the first season. like season 2 has, for example, let me just look at the list. Let's see. The Measure of a Man, that's considered a really good episode, for example. I think Q Who, that's the one introducing the Borg, was considered pretty good. Although season 2 does have some like pretty bad episodes also. Shades of Grey is like considered by quite a few to be the worst episode of the series. So, but yeah, that'll be it for Star Trek The Next Generation for now. Maybe we'll return to it, but for now we're just gonna be watching some more anime. And once again, in case you forgot, what we're going to be doing for next week is we got the stuff that's on Toonami. Then we'll have 1 episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, Shangri-La Frontier, Hyoka, and 2 episodes of Blue Lock.
That's right.
Yep, and without further ado, that's it. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Toonami Therapy, our podcast. Right now, it's March 6th of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And, well, it's our podcast where we talk about Toonami and other things. So, I guess... Oh, right. We actually... Last week, we talked about information about Toonami's new schedule, and somehow we went without actually mentioning, because they had announced it, that they did announce that they are going to air that Lazarus anime, and it's starting in April, I think it was. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's when it was. I'll be honest, I don't know a thing about it, but I know that it's coming, and that it was something they announced a while ago.
Is it based on a manga, or is it an anime original?
It's an anime original.
Is it being partially produced by Adult Swim?
I think so.
Oh boy.
Let's see. It says produced by Mappa and Sola Entertainment. Actually, I don't know if Adult Swim is having much to do with the production of it. I just know that they're airing it. Maybe they're the licensor. Maybe it's just maybe they partially funded it or something. I don't know the exact stuff. All I know is that because they mentioned it was going to air on Adult Swim / Toonami when they originally announced it back in mid 2023. So
yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure about some of how it all goes together. I don't know. I just know that at the time, and a bunch of people mentioned this, it's a series that Shinichiro Watanabe is behind, and he made a bunch of sort of famous series.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy, as well as some other series that you haven't heard much about. Didn't he have to do with Excel Saga? I mean, that was based on a manga, but I thought he had a lot to do with it, but... Oh, no, sorry. That's Shinichi Watanabe. This is Shinichiro Watanabe. They have very similar names, and I thought they were the same guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but the one with Lazarus, he's the one behind, yes, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy, as well as, again, some other series, but those are the biggest ones. So we'll see. It might still be good if I remember how they were for Ninja Kamui. They were talking about, by the director of one of the guys from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and yeah, like the direction was decent enough, just not the writing. So anyway, I don't actually know much about anything about this new series, but that we at least have some decent people behind it looks like. So there's some reasons to be a bit excited about it. Let's see. A new anime from Cowboy Bebop director Shinichiro Watanabe with action developed by John Wick director Chad Stahelski. So that's what they were advertising. Well, that's what this one person said it was. So yeah, we'll see. You don't want to get your hopes up too high, but because expect the worst and you'll never be disappointed. At any rate, the fact it's coming is at least an indication that no, Toonami is not necessarily approaching end of service by the fact they're showing so little anime now. It's at least, maybe you can say maybe they were doing this stuff, just to stall for this thing's premiere, maybe, but at least we've got that to see.
Okay.
All right. So, yes, I think that's it then. We can move into the discussion. One other thing. So because I remember last week we ended up talking about the correct pronunciation of cour or core or C-O-U-R. Well, the pronunciation gets weird because this started out as a French word, which then went into Japanese, which then came into English from Japanese. So, so of course you have like 3 different pronunciations depending on what language you're going to. It looks to me like the pronunciation is cur, as in like rhyming with a pure, basically. That
okay.
or lure. That at least is what these things, at least that once again is what n.wiktionary.org is telling me, and that obviously can't be incorrect, right? But anyway, I've been saying core this whole time. I guess I'll just say cur. That's although in Japanese it would have been like cour, so I guess cur is more like it. I don't know. I guess that's just what I'll say until I'm corrected on it. So, well, any other intro stuff to talk about?
What are they now putting on, like 2 One Piece episodes per night or something?
They weren't last week. Did they announce that they were doing something like that now?
Yeah, they announced something like that.
Okay. Let me take a quick look. Maybe that was the case and I just missed something. It looks like, oh boy, well, oof. So what they're doing, well, they are for this week, yes. So we're going to have, the problem isn't that they're showing 2 One Piece episodes, it's how late this all is. So we get Fooly Cooly Grunge, then Common Side Effects, then Blue Exorcist, then 2 episodes of One Piece.
With the spring ahead thing too, right?
Yeah, is that this week?
I don't know if it's this week or next week.
I can never remember offhand. Let's see. What is the date for it? This is the amazing information that wait. Actually, I'm just realizing that if it's this week, there's a good chance that by the time this actually goes up, we'll already be past daylight savings time. So I will just make a quick look. Maybe someone's listening to this after the fact and they forgot about it and they somehow didn't notice it after they got chewed out of it when they arrived late to work. Okay, it is supposed to happen on the second Sunday of March. So yes, that is this weekend. I thought we were actually getting. I guess we haven't gotten rid of daylight savings time yet. I remember there was some talk about, yeah, we're finally getting rid of it, but I guess they haven't done anything yet. So anyway, to actual Toonami discussion, however brief it'll be, considering we've just got 2 shows, which each had 1 episode. We therefore start with Blue Exorcist episode 16. Now, in this episode, what happens do you want to describe it, or?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, you're usually better at remembering the series than I am. So basically, Rin gets captured and they're brought to the Vatican. This is like something I remember from the series. They always like refer to things as like, real organizations, but they've got nothing to do with those actual organizations.
Right, yeah. And this is the episode it splits off from the manga, right?
This episode I think is from the manga. I looked into it. From what I remember, the next episode starts to split off. I think it has some changes, but it's not until 2 episodes from now, the one after that it just completely goes off into an anime original.
Okay.
So they are in charge of what the anime tells us is the Vatican. And so basically Rin and Mephisto end up getting put on trial for this. There's, a whole bunch of stuff involving that. There's all that stuff while the other characters go off to try to do stuff to, what was it? Weren't they trying to go to get his sword fixed or something?
Yeah.
Okay. But then they have to fight some guys, I think. I can't remember the specifics. But the big thing I remember, I recall correctly, was that the whole trial thing gets interrupted by what's his name showing up? The guy, the bad guy shows up to like try to, because he wants to fight them. That's what I remember. I'm sorry, this episode is kind of a jumble to me.
Okay, so looking at this thing here, it says manga canon is season 1 episodes 1 through 15, and not manga canon is season 1 episodes 16 through 25. So
what side are you looking at?
This is the official Blue Exorcist thing on Reddit. So
okay.
Yeah. The movie isn't canon either, though that's kind of standard. So yeah, they say they won't let anyone post about it because they put this up as a sticky. That way, people can't keep asking about what's canon and what isn't. So episode 16 is part of the non-canon.
Well, the reason I thought it wasn't that case is because I was looking at the Blue Exorcist wiki, and a nice thing about a lot of anime wikis is that if you look at episodes, it will tell you what chapters they correspond to. And I'm looking at like episode 16, and it says adapted chapters, chapter 14 and 15. It even is very specific about the pages. Like chapter 14, pages 5, 7 to 13, 28 to 34, 37 to 38, and chapter 15, pages 7 to 9. So, and then for episode 17, I again see some things from the actual chapters, and then it's episode 18 where it just doesn't list anything at all. So what I think happens, and I don't have the manga in front of me, maybe I should have done more research to check it out. I think what's happening is episode 16 and 17 have stuff from the manga, but it's starting to sort of branch off into different things. And then episode 18 is when it just straight up goes completely original.
Okay, so like half the stuff is manga related, but the other half is like not.
I don't know the exact things. I just know there's for example, I'm reading, I'm looking at the episode for episode 16, like manga and anime differences, and it lists some stuff, and I can see some shifts, although I'm not 100% sure if these might be the shifts that, often happen in an anime adaptation, or if they're actually things where it splits off. It's kind of like, I remember the original Full Metal Alchemist anime compared to Brotherhood, there were differences even before what you would call the split off point. They were doing things differently. I think that's the case here. They're doing things similarly to the manga, but a little differently, and then start. So if you want to just go just manga canon, you would want to skip 16 and 17 because of the differences, but it's not until 18 where it's just like straight up, yep, none of this stuff is from the manga at all. Just pretend, if you want to go into season 2, just pretend it was all a fever dream or something. Like like how I remember some people say right off Star Trek 5 is saying, well, when Kirk fell near the start of the movie, he hit his head, and the whole thing was just a dream he had.
Because it was such a bad movie.
Well, not only was Star Trek 5 considered not a great movie, that actually weirdly makes sense, because so much of the movie people complain about how it just makes like Kirk the greatest guy, like too great, and then and if it's all a dream he has, it all makes sense.
What was it with those movies where all the even number ones were good and all the odd number ones were bad? That's so weird. Except for maybe Nemesis, but yeah,
that's a joke people make, and Nemesis is kind of seen as an exception. One, people would say, well, there's two possibilities. One is just if it's a multiple of 5, it's bad. But my preferred explanation is to just count Galaxy Quest as a good Star Trek movie, and then it all works out. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I haven't.
Okay, Galaxy Quest was kind of a comedy. It was a comedy movie about some actors who worked in this in a very Star Trek-like show, except then some aliens watched them and think that like it was all real, so they abduct them to try to get them to help them again in a war. And it's a comedy series. It's pretty funny. So, and that came out between Insurrection and Nemesis. So people say, well, just count that as a Star Trek movie, and then the pattern continues.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So back to Blue Exorcist. It was okay. Nothing too special, I don't think, but it was okay.
Yeah. I just feel like not having Ren around kind of makes it not feel as important. So hopefully he busts out of that thing pretty soon. But yeah, it's just an average episode, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am, after all that discussion we have, I am really curious to see if Toonami will go into season 2, or if it'll just drop it after season 1 like it did Mashal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So then we move into One Piece episode 706. So, let's see. Right. So basically, Corazon gets attacked. Doflamingo shows up and confronts Corazon. Corazon puts Law in this chest and uses his powers to mute the sound so no one can hear him. let's see. Then Doflamingo gets so angry about all the stuff where Corazon, took the fruit and gave it to Law and makes Doflamingo think that Law isn't around anymore. So he basically shoots him, but Corazon is deciding decides to try to keep himself alive long enough to maintain his power effect so that no one will hear Law because, in there so that no one notices that. And then Law's, it's because Law's like crying a bunch about the whole thing. It's kind of funny because both of our predictions that I think were meant kind of as jokes turned out right. You last week said something about how you expected Law would do a bunch of crying. Well, he does. Yeah. And I said, maybe there will be a flashback within this flashback, and there was. So yeah, we were right on those. I have to admit, I kind of like this episode. I'm thinking Law is just so stupid. It's like if he wants to stay alive, just don't make any noise, and then your pal doesn't need to use his powers to silence you, but all he wants to do is cry, and so yeah, and he gets shot all those times, but he's able to survive those shots and choose when he wants to die. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, okay, I'm not going to die yet, but I will die. Just give me a few minutes here, then I'll do it. So, but that was, I thought it was actually a pretty good episode, to be honest. Yes, I do think it was decent. But it did keep me thinking, man, I feel like this would have felt so much better if this was just, done shorter than it was. Because this actually, let's look it up. How much did we get here? We've got, oh wow, this one actually adapted most of a chapter. Pages 2 to 17, and the chapters are usually 19 pages. So, yeah, this one got almost all of a chapter. That's surprising. Oh, no, wait, no. This chapter was actually only 17 pages. And since the first page of a One Piece manga chapter is almost always just like some kind of random drawing that the author wanted to do, we actually got a full chapter out of this. Wow, that's impressive. Maybe that explained why it managed to be better. Yeah. Even if ultimately we are still left thinking, man, this probably could have gone by faster. It's what dang, what's the expression for, there must be an expression for this, for when things are so bad that you'll take something that's not good just because it's an improvement. Yeah. There's got to be an expression for that. For some reason, I keep thinking when all you have is a hammer, every problem starts to look like a nail, but that obviously has nothing to do with it. Okay. But yeah, I do think there's some good stuff in this episode. We can excuse Law being dumb because he's young. I can't remember exactly how old he is at this point, but he must have. Maybe I can just look this up quick. Let me just see. Okay, I'll just try to do a quick look here. Has before the time skip. He was, I don't know if it said the actual age of him at this point. Yeah, I'm not seeing an exact age on a quick thing, so I don't know exactly what he was, but he's definitely younger. All right. Anything else to say about that? No, not really. Okay. So, After that, we've got Yu Yu Hakusho, episode 44. So, to correct an error I made in the previous episode, because I was saying, they didn't explain why Genkai looked younger. Well, I was an idiot because she did explain it, and I just forgot. She explicitly told him that the power turns your body into whenever you were your strongest, which is why that happened to her. So that was my bad. I just completely forgot she mentioned that. So we do have the explanation. Anyway, so she tells Yusuke, well, it's time. Well, it's kind of early for now, but I could give you this power to be way stronger, but you need to kill me to do it. So Yusuke has to think about did a bunch and then tells her, well, no, I can't do it. I can't just kill the person who taught me useful things. And she said, oh, good, you passed. and I like the fact it wasn't just to see to confirm that he wouldn't just be so willing to kill her to get the power. She also just says, at the same time, I wouldn't want someone who would reject the idea immediately. This isn't for sissies, you know. And then Yusuke gets annoyed over all of that. Anyway, basically what she does is she puts this thing into his body that apparently causes a whole ton of pain and damage as he tries to resist it. So he's still doing that. And in the meantime, the next round has started. So it's just the other three who are involved in fighting against them. Hiei fights first and he decides, the author probably doesn't have enough ideas for all of these guys, so I'll just kill this first guy really easily and move on. So he wins his fight pretty easily, and then I guess we're going to move on to the next fight.
Yeah, here's a prediction. The last one of those three is going to get knocked out, and they're going to about to call the match over whenever Yusuke suddenly appears all powered up, ready to fight. So that's my prediction of what's going to happen.
Okay.
So, and we got a new announcer because they moved the one girl to the booth, and now we got a new announcer. Her name is Jury, kind of like Jury, and she's the new announcer because Koto got bumped up to the booth. And that's pretty much all I got about that episode.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty solid, though. I don't know why it suddenly bothered me here when it didn't in all these other cases that both this anime and others have done it, but it of course does the thing where Hiei just without anyone even seeing it, because he moves so fast, he just slices the guy's arm off, and then the guy doesn't notice it right away, and then he notices, my arm's gone, and I'm thinking, how do you not notice your arm's been cut off? Shouldn't you at least be feeling crazy pain?
Yeah.
I was almost a little disappointed that Hiei, the next time the guy attacks, just kills him. I was thinking maybe Hiei should have just, cut off another arm and then gone for the legs, and then I could have said, oh, this is just like that Black Knight bit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Did you ever see that? Did you ever see that movie?
Sort of.
Okay, well, you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else to say about this, but it was a pretty solid episode, I thought. Okay. So we move to Shangri-La Frontier, episode 38. So Ray and Sunraku are fighting Lycagon, and then what was her exact name? It's okay. Akitsu Akane, that's her name, shows up, and we find, that girl that they just been continually teasing us with, and helps them. And we find out, oh yeah, she was remember way back when Sunraku briefly played that sort of broken fighting game and played against someone named Dragonfly? Yeah, it's her, which actually is something you might have guessed if you know Japanese, because Akitsu Akane means dragonfly. So, anyway, yeah, Akitsu Akane's there along with Emil, and I can't remember the other rabbit's name, but he's here. So they do a whole bunch of fighting, and yeah, it is really just a whole bunch of fighting after that. I did like it more than the previous episode, because at least we got into some more fun and funny interactions between the characters along with it. But at the end of the day, it is kind of just, it is mostly yep, we're fighting Lycagon still.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I really feel like I had enjoyed the second half of the first season, and now this season just like cut out two very important characters and now just turned it into, well, here's Sunraku beating a video game. And it doesn't really feel all that entertaining. So I guess they think that Sunraku can carry the show on his own, but he can't. And it's been kind of mediocre, I think, at least some of these episodes. I mean, there were a few good ones, but been mostly mediocre this second season.
I think it was pretty solid up until this Lycagon fight. The problem I've got with this is the fact, when I compare, now I think we're only like, 2 episodes into it, it could get better. I just have to compare it to the Weathermon fight before, which had more build-up going into it, but that's okay. Just having Lycagon show up unexpectedly can be interesting. The problem is, when you look at Weathermon, it really focused on there being stages. Like, you had to figure out how to survive this stage, then you did it, and then you moved on to the next one, and there was new stuff that was going on that you had to do. It kept shifting, whereas for the most part, this has just kind of been, well, Lycagon's attacking, and they're fighting Lycagon. We need more like of that sort of shifts and stuff. That would be nice. But I did like this definitely more than the previous episode. I thought there was more fun with the characters rather than it just being, and it didn't feel like the last episode where it's just 30 minutes of them fighting Lycagon. Here there was some other stuff. Also, one comment I wanted to make, when the rabbits show up, and I was thinking, wow, it's sure convenient that, all the characters get to catch up with each other and Lycagon's just kind of standing there. But then I decided, my explanation is going to be that the AI is set up so that it won't be interrupting cutscenes. All right. After that, we move on to Blue Lock episodes 35 and 36. And of course, we run into the problem I keep having when we have watched 2 episodes of the show, is trying to keep everything straight. All right. So basically, thing is, I can remember the stuff that's happening. I'm trying to remember the actual order of everything. Well,
maybe we shouldn't do the double episodes then. I don't know.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just having, I can remember the stuff. I'm just having a little trouble remembering what happened in what order. So I apologize if the things I say might be in different orders. So what happens is they're playing. Blue Lock seems to be having some difficulties, but then Ego sends in Baro to fight, who decides, whose goal is basically, well, I'm just gonna, take the ball from even my teammates, which ends up confusing the other team because it's such a bizarre thing to do. And as a result of all this sort of stuff and other things, they managed to get another goal and tie up the game. Also, the guy on the other team, the one with the different color eyes, I can't remember his name. I just remember him as, he's the captain guy who's got the different color eyes. He has a flashback, and I guess that makes him stronger, which is which often happens in these sorts of series. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to guess that he's going to actually have some sort of important role after this game, because you usually don't, make a design like that for someone who's just going to be, well, they're in this game and then they're never going to show up again. All right, did I miss anything important?
Well, I think the animation wasn't too good in this episode. There was a lot of people standing still, and that reminded me. I forgot to mention during One Piece, they must have reused that same animation with Law crying and pounding on the chest. They must have used that same animation about 10 times. I mean, it was over and over and over again, and it was the exact same scene. So that was pretty funny. In this show, it seems like all the action happens with people frozen in space. They're just like, they're not moving, but the ball moves, and that somehow counts as action. And it's like, well, actually, you need to make sure that the players are moving too. They don't just stay still. They aren't like people on a bubble hockey game. So they're not like people on a foosball table. So I found the animation to be lacking, but it wasn't too bad, those 2 episodes.
Yeah, surprisingly, I didn't actually mind the animation that much in these episodes. Maybe it's because, remember that thing I told you, I mentioned about One Piece, how when the pacing is so bad that just getting not merely mediocre pacing makes it seem much better? This is still considerably better than some of the stuff we've been getting this season, so I think that just made me notice it less. Okay. Yeah, we've gotten that. I will say that it was, I do, right, 2 other things I wanted to mention. One is they mention, because Barrow gets like all excited and he just like takes off his shirt and then he gets a yellow card as a result. And I'm just thinking, okay, that was kind of funny. I hope that what he doesn't just like get, let's see, if you get, is it 2 or 3 yellow cards that knock you out of the game?
2.
Okay. I'm just going to hope that that doesn't happen, and like for something, and then it's like, oh, well, because of that goofy joke, now he's out of the game and they're in trouble, because that would feel kind of cheap. Like that bit where they, in One Piece, where Sanji gets like the nosebleed from seeing all the really cute girls, but then he loses so much blood he needs a blood transfusion, and that actually becomes a plot point because they need to find someone to give him blood. And I was just thinking, that was very stupid. I hope this isn't just going to turn like a funny joke into like a major plot point all of a sudden.
Yeah. This episode reminded me of a former message board, which we won't name the message board, but we were both part of it. And the creator of the website who did it at one point got very power hungry, and he began issuing yellow cards to people. Do you remember this?
Actually, I don't.
People were getting yellow cards for crazy stuff, and and then they had, and it was, and the person and the owner of the website was going by the pseudonym of Judge, and it would come up, yellow card for so and so, yellow card for so and so, and then everyone's like, wait a minute, this Judge character, we know who this is. And he was like, okay, yeah, it's me, I won't give out yellow cards anymore. But that's what I always think of when I see yellow cards. I think of that message board.
Okay. I'm going to have to ask you about this afterwards because I actually can't remember what message board. I think I might, but I think I might, but if that's the case, I don't think I was paying attention to it at that point. But yeah, okay. That does sound interesting. The other thing I was going to ask, I'm just curious. So time for me to show my complete ignorance of soccer again. Just really going to be really look. I just don't watch this game. I like know, but if I need to double check. If it's tied, they go into overtime, right? Or
well, it depends. It like most regular season matches just end in a tie, but if you're in some sort of playoff, a tournament bracket, then it goes to extra time, which is where they get the additional time thing from. And extra time isn't quite overtime, but it's like it's 30 minutes split into two 15-minute periods, and it's not overtime because you can score a goal and then the other team can still score one to tie it up. So it isn't golden goal. It isn't sudden death overtime. It's pretty much just like another game except a 30-minute game. And then if it's still tied after that, then they go to penalty kicks, which each team takes 5 kicks and whoever makes more wins.
Okay. Because I was trying to figure out whether that would go. Because I feel like they said, because I know in some games you could just do it a tie, and in some you would actually go into extra time. And I feel like someone said something about how this game could end in a draw, but I can't remember exactly. I was going to ask you.
It could. I don't know what rules they're going by. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I thought someone in the show suggested it could go end in a draw, but
okay.
I could be misremembering. So I was going to ask you if you thought whether this would actually go into additional time or not, plot-wise. But it's hard to know because we don't even know if that's an option in this game or not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out. We're almost at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's Blue Lock. Then we will move on to the new series, Hyoka Episode 1.
Yeah, so we meet a boy named Hachiman who gets roped into going to a club, and whenever he's there, he sees this really perky girl, and instantly they hit it off. And Hachiman, he is totally uninterested, but this girl makes him open up and do stuff, and thus we have my teen romantic comedy. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is a different show. It's a different show. I did not notice. I thought this was just a sequel to my teen romantic comedy Snafu, because it seems like exactly the same show, down to the casting of the characters and everything. It felt like I was just watching an episode, like the first episode of Snafu. So I was like, what is going on here? And eventually they get this other guy involved and they do a little mystery thing. But yeah, this first episode felt like a complete ripoff of that. And yeah, I wasn't too impressed.
I didn't Yeah, it was pretty similar. I was noticing like, this guy, mostly the main character. I mean, he not only basically is Hachiman from Snafu, he got the same voice actor too.
Yeah.
So let me check timing. Okay, this anime aired before 1 year before Snafu, but let me check on the source material. When did that start up with? Let's see. I don't know exactly when the source material was. Let me see if I can find this quick. Okay, this was the Classic Literature Club. That was published in 2001. Now, what was the one that Snafu was based on? I'm pretty sure that came out later, but I just want to double check. Yeah, 2000 that premiered in. Okay, yeah, 2011. So yeah, the anime predated the Snafu anime, and the book predated the Snafu book. So if anything's ripping off, it's actually Snafu.
That's funny.
But yeah, very similar in a number of ways. I mean, there is some differences in character dynamics, but definitely there's strong similarities in at least the premise and especially the main character, because it's not just a voice. Like I said, he basically is Hachiman. He even starts. His last name was what was it, like Hyotaro or something?
Yeah.
Hotaru. Sorry, they both start with an H sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that. We'll see how that goes. I thought it was decent, but I thought it was kind of fun. I was more surprised. I was the girl. I was thinking, wow, she sounds just like Mikuru from Haruhi. But then I checked, like, nope, different voice actors. So that at least was not the same voice. Anyway. Yeah, I unfortunately don't have too much else to say about this. This is, I think, I don't know if this is going to be, are we going to have like a bunch of sort of mystery stuff in this? Because that was what was going on here, solving a mystery, or rather, because he figured the mystery that she wanted to solve would be too easy to solve, he just came up with one so that it would be more exciting, which is exactly the sort of thing Hachiman would do.
Yep. Yeah, I was so confused. I'm like, I was halfway through the episode and I'm like, okay, are they playing a prank on me or something? Because it's like, this can't be the same exact show. So yeah, I don't know. I still have to give it my 3-episode rule before I make a decision. So yeah, definitely a mixed feelings type of thing over this episode, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep. So that's our first episode of Hyoka, and I don't really have anything else to add to it, so I guess that will be concluding that. We can list what our favorites were. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to?
No, I got it here.
Okay.
My favorite non-Toonami thing of the week, probably buoyed by the fact that we had 2 episodes of it. It's Blue Lock. Favorite Toonami thing, believe it or not, is One Piece. And best girl of the week is Juri, the new Juri. I don't know how to pronounce it. She's the new announcer at Yu Yu Hakusho. So she is my 10th best girl. And soon enough, I'm going to have to start rotating best girls. I've tried to make it so that there's been a different best girl every single week, but we're running out. We're running out soon. Hyoka might give me a chance to stall a little bit, but we're gonna run out soon.
Well, let me think. I can't remember. Did you give Best Girl to any characters from Blue Exorcist yet?
Kamiki, yes.
Okay. Well, let's see. There's at least 2 other notable female characters there. Let's see. There's several in Yu Yu Hakusho also. There's a new one in Shangri-La Frontier. I guess you can. I guess there's Emil also. She could technically count. There's well, you're gonna have trouble with Blue Lock. I guess you can give it to Henri, although she never really does much. Her main purpose is just for her to say something. Ego says, "You're being stupid, and let me explain why." And then there's Hyoka. So we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's all of that. So I don't.
What was your pick?
Oh, wow. I almost forgot. I thought I gave them. Sorry. One Piece for Toonami. I agree with you on that. The non-Toonami series is a little trickier it's a choice for me between Yu Yu Hakusho and Blue Lock. I think I will also give it to Blue Lock.
Okay.
Okay. So, anything else to discuss, I guess? Any important information or news or anything?
Yeah, the Amazing Race started again.
Oh, it did? Man, I do not pay enough attention to things. I didn't even know that. Oh, okay, maybe I'll be checking it out then.
Yeah, it started last night. They did some new, but not really new stuff. They basically had this twist that it's basically the same thing as before, except there's a little difference to it. You'll find out whenever you see it. Yeah, the first episode was okay. None of the teams are really interesting to me so far, so I don't know what to think about it. Yeah.
Okay, I just completely missed the fact it was back. Okay, I'll probably start watching it starting with next week then. So, and maybe we'll discuss it on the podcast again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I finished the Soul Society arc of Bleach, and now we're on to the Bount arc, which I remember at the time thinking, this is so bad. And then about 100 episodes down the line, I'm like, man, I wish we were back in the Bount arc. So we'll find out exactly how good or bad it is this second time around. Obviously, the Soul Society arc ended on a really high note, but now we have to start over. And one of the things, I never realized this because I didn't read manga or anything, but if the Bound arc is filler, that means it didn't happen in the manga. So you're really, in the manga, you're going straight from Soul Society arc into the Waco Mundo arc. And I never even thought about it that way. I was like, wow. So those things happen back to back pretty much. Whereas it feels like there's a very long time in between them based on the length of this Bound arc. So, yeah, that was just something I noticed.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on a rewatch of the Bount arc, because it's been so long since I saw it. My vague memories are, as far as filler arcs go, it was decent. Its biggest problem was just that it was a bit too long. If it had been maybe half the length, it probably would have been paced better. But still, at least I think a lot of people do think it's probably one of the better filler arcs in anime.
Yeah.
So, you've gotten that. I don't really have anything interesting to add, I don't think. So, going forward next week, are we going to have the same things we watch off Toonami?
Same lineup?
Yeah.
Yeah, same lineup.
Okay, so we got Yu Yu Hakusho, Shangri-La Frontier, Hyoka, and 2 episodes of Blue Lock, which will bring us to the end of the season.
That's good.
Yep, and after that, ReZero's got its dub out, so we can get back into that, and I guess we can double up on some other series while we're doing that. We'll figure out what we want to do for that then, but for next week, it's the same schedule we had today, except, well, at least for off Toonami. For on Toonami stuff, we'll have Blue Exorcist and 2 One Piece episodes. I'm just annoyed by, again, this schedule. Just get rid of Fooly Cooly and just move everything up a half hour, or get rid of Common Side Effects and move everything up half an hour, or get rid of both of them and move everything up an hour. But at least one of them. By the way, did you watch Common Side Effects?
No, I did not.
Okay, I did, and it was.
You want to talk about it, because I'm never going to watch it, so you might as well. You're not going to spoil anything.
Okay. Well, the problem is, unfortunately, I got mixed up and only I did. It had the problem where let's see, I was waiting for it, and there's commercials, and so I'm waiting for it. Except the problem is, it looked so much like some of the commercials they air that I didn't notice. Oh wait, it's on until like 5 minutes into it. So I might have missed some stuff. It's about this guy. It seems like sort of more of a thriller series about this guy who discovers this super amazing medicine, and other people are trying to like keep it quiet, and so it's him trying to avoid them and stuff. I thought it was okay. You probably would not like it from everything. No, I don't think you would, but I think it was an okay series. I wasn't huge on the art design, and I'm kind of confused about why they chose to put this on Toonami, but I thought it was okay.
I love how you know me well enough to know I'm not gonna like it. I agree. I don't think I would like it. I don't know why they're putting non-anime on Toonami. I don't get it.
I mean, maybe maybe just because it's cheap, but it is a weird choice. It just, the other stuff they had, at least again, felt like anime influenced or anime inspired. My Adventures with Superman, there's very clear anime influence on it. That's why I saw some people who refer to it as Shonen Man. And same thing with Invincible Fight Girl, whereas this one is not so much like that. So it just seems like a kind of a random choice, but we'll see. But for now, that's what we have. So, all right, listeners, we've probably taken up enough of your time for now, and we'll see you next week, and we'll try to do better.
Bye.
About 4 years ago, a man named Dr. Skinner developed a miracle painkiller known as Hopna.
As a matter of fact, I did not develop Hopna to act as a mere painkiller.
And as it turned out, Hopna was a grand trap that he set upon us all.
3 years after ingestion, Hopna will mutate,
killing all those who have taken it.
But you should all know that I currently have the cure. You have 30 days.
So unless you find me within that time, hope will be lost forever.
Yo, Skinner. You see me in there? Remember this face. I'm coming after you. Your ass is mine!
Who the hell are those people?
We call ourselves Lazarus.
It's go time!
We're here to save the world.
So basically, we're superheroes.
I found Dr. Skinner. It looks like there are thousands of him.
I swear Skinner is the devil incarnate.
And I suppose that makes us the angels that are gonna kick his ass back to hell.
Do I have clearance to use an assault rifle?
You're authorized to use anything.
Are you actually enjoying this?
It's that obvious.
DEA, FBI! Lazarus!
What's Lazarus?
We're superheroes.
He's totally out of his mind.
From anime legend Shinichiro Watanabe, Lazarus premieres April 5th at midnight in Toonami, next day on Max.